Hey, thanks for joining us again for today's edition of Jim Wilson's FNN Fishing News Network.com. And we're doing a continuing show from the ATC here at Gulf Coast State College, and we're going to be bringing our friend Dr. Stephen Dunavant back on again today to, and by the way, notice that we're in HD again today. We were in HD last week, and such a difference. It's unbelievable to see the difference. And of course, this technology spot is one of a kind, not just in the United States or Florida, but in the world. And students are going to be earning and learning so much here about eco-friendly systems. Everything they do here has an eco-friendly base to it. And you're going to see more of it and hear more of it about today. Of course, as usual, don't forget about our friend at Tanya's Garden. That's the farm right there on Highway 77, just before you get to Haney Vocational School across from Soul Tractor. When I say it's the farm, it's where you go and get fresh stuff just like picking it yourself. Strawberries are still in there, all the beans, all the zucchini and squash and yellow squash, mini watermelons, whatever you're looking for. Imported cheeses from up in the New England area and so forth, and all the smoked meats and things. Tanya's Garden. Be sure you tell Tanya we sent you in there, and looking around at her little zoo, because she's got quite a zoo. And say hello to Rio, the big parrot. And our friends at AMW Trailers have been building them since the 50s. As I told you last week, they called me and said that mine was ready. Well, I went and picked it up. Now I have my 17-foot squareback canoe, 2-horsepower motor, ready to get out there and do. I don't do kayaks, but I do canoes awfully well, and this is going to be a lot of fun. They're right there in downtown Millville as you're driving on Highway Business 98, the big blue building, and it's right next to the new to be open soon Piggly Wiggly store. Go in there and see Lynn and his dad and tell them I sent you. If you need trailer parts or trailer repaired or a new trailer, aluminum or galvanized, they build them, they have them. Whatever you need. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with today's edition. Of course, I can't forget the tides, because that's always one of our most important things to make fishing improved. We'll be right back with today's edition.
For everything you need on or off the water, visit the Panama City and St. Andrews Marinas. Both locations provide you with easy access boat slips, ramps, fuel, bait, and tackle. Come visit our ship stores and see our unique nautical gifts and clothing, or just relax with a cool drink and grab a snack while watching the boats come in.
Don't forget that mariner on your shopping list. Come by and see our unique nautical gifts, cards, and clothing at Panama City or St. Andrews Marina. Call 872-7272 for more information.
Meet Henson Hindenburg, king of the road at Baytown Tire, 2609 West 15th Street, just before the curve. For 20 years, he's taken care of your cars, trucks, and commercial vehicles. Baytown Tire carries tires including Michelin, Yokohama, BF Goodrich, and Uniroyal. A new set gets free rotation every 6 months. Alignment is done on the latest digital equipment, and his diagnostic can read all your computer info for proper repairs. All his service folks are ASE certified. Give him a call today at 873-8900.
Hi folks, Larry Lee here at Coin and Bullion Reserves. The Swiss government has requested that the Federal Reserve return to it all of the gold bullion which it has long had deposited at Fort Knox. Do they know something you and I don't? Well, I think I do know. And I think it may be time for you to consider buying some gold and silver too. And no one will sell you gold and silver cheaper than Coin and Bullion Reserves. And you can take that to the bank.
Coin and Bullion Reserves.
When was the last time you took a few minutes out of your busy schedule to enjoy the simple things? The wide open spaces, the uncharted territory, the moments that seem to stick with you for a lifetime. Well, what are you waiting for? Half hitch. Get out there.
Need a storage shed, pole barn, or garage? Who do you call? Two-time site-built buildings. They come completely prefabbed with aluminum siding and 3/4-inch floors. Constructed on your property by James McConnell and his crew. With no middleman, his prices is lower, and with easy payment terms. Here's my 12-foot by 20-foot shed that went through a 3-foot gate and anchored like a mobile home. He's been building here for 15 years. See the samples at 3822 Highway 98 in Springfield and call today at 850-257-5729. When you want your lawn to go from this to this, you need to call Leroy Dennis and his helper Bill Grimes. They can do it in one day. Not only that, but Leroy offers discounts to seniors and active and former military. He and his partner can handle any commercial jobs. Don't wait to give them a call at 358-6696. Guess what? If you aren't satisfied, I'll pay for it myself. Don't delay. Call the experts now and look great. Well, we're continuing with last week's show because it was so exciting to be at the Advanced Technology Center.
You got it.
Here at Gulf Coast State College.
Yes, sir.
With Dr. Stephen Donovan.
Yeah, and we're happy to have you again. Last week we took a look at some of the lead endorsed or environmental technologies that were on the roof, the wind turbines and the solar and water heaters and the cistern, and some of the event spaces that are designed to get students involved in different programs.
Well, you know, one of the things that strikes me is the fact that a huge amount of the public, because of some of the anti-publicity, is very skeptical about the technology you have, wind, solar, all those kind of things. I think you're going to prove them wrong right here, aren't you?
Well, ultimately it boils down to our children, and fossil fuel, we know, is a limited resource. Fracking and what we've done with natural gas here in the United States will probably meet our energy needs for the next 100 or 200 years, but what happens after that? So the renewable energies are not quite as viable today because of some of the expenses and the research and development, but every day they get cheaper, more affordable, and more advanced. So that's what we saw last week. And today you'll see some things that we call part of the talent chain. And that talent chain is those programs that we need our area students to have jobs. Unless you want your kids growing up and making $10 an hour in a call center, you have to up the ante. So our Board of Trustees, our president, invested in this $35 million project to make sure that when somebody looks at Panama City and Bay County, they go, hey, now there's a place that's got its act together with education.
And what was the actual groundbreaking date for here?
Well, if we go back to the beginning of the project, it actually started 6 years ago. The construction of the facility is probably somewhere in that 18 to 20 month range, somewhere in there. But the planning of it, people are really amazed when you see it.
But what I was getting at is from where we are now to where it started, how long did it take to get here?
6 years.
6 years. Wow. And it looks like it was just started yesterday.
Yeah, the contractors, GAC, and the folks that have worked, Richard Dodd and the architect, Joe Sorcy, and the project managers, Dalton Parker, and there's so many others that really, this is an amazingly complex building, Charles Poffenberger. It was, and I'll show you some things today about its construction that really make it unique.
And I didn't realize GAC played a vital part. That's great because they're one of our big local companies.
They are. In fact, most of the labor was garnered locally, as well as a big percentage of the actual materials to build the building.
About how many people did it employ?
It was in the hundreds.
Really? And
yeah.
How many are being still employed here on it?
Well, they're closing out now, so they turned the building over to us on June 19th. And
okay.
Then it becomes ours.
All right. Well, we're going to be taking another tour of some other parts of the building. And I can't tell you how excited I am about it because, you know, I keep reading and hearing all this negative stuff. I have a son who worked on a big a solar panel project in South Florida, and the whole object was to heat up oil before it went into a furnace system to generate electricity. In other words, bringing it up to that flash point before it got there, and it's all being done with solar panels.
Yeah, and again, there are different kinds of alternative energies, biofuels, wind, solar, geothermal. The list goes on as our technologies increase. But at some point, the day comes when we run out of oil.
Did you ever know you'd be doing a project like this when you got your doctorate?
No, I had no idea. This is the great thing about education and opportunity.
And that is, and I can see why it's been so great for you. So let's go ahead and we'll take a tour now of some of these other spots.
Yes, sir.
Hi, folks. Larry Lee here at Coin and Bullion Reserves. The Swiss government has requested that the Federal Reserve return to it all of the gold bullion which it has long had deposited at Fort Knox. Do they know something you and I don't? Well, I think I do know. And I think it may be time for you to consider buying some gold and silver too. And no one will sell you gold and silver cheaper than Coin and Bullion Reserves. And you can take that to the bank.
Coin and Bullion Reserves.
Meet Henson Hindenburg, king of the road at Baytown Tire, 2609 West 15th Street, just before the curve. For 20 years, he's taken care of your cars, trucks, and commercial vehicles. Baytown Tire carries tires including Michelin, Yokohama, BF Goodrich, and Uniroyal. A new set gets free rotation every 6 months. Alignment is done on the latest digital equipment, and his diagnostic can read all your computer info for proper repairs. All his service folks are ASE certified. Give him a call today at 873-8900.
The Captain Anderson makes fishing a breeze. There's a galley on board, and your comfortable trip is all-inclusive. Rod, reel, tackle, bait, and your fishing license. The traditional all-day trip from 7 to 5 p.m. Come aboard the Captain Anderson for a relaxing day of bottom fishing. There's plenty of room, so bring the whole family. It's a whopping big adventure, and that's no fishtail. The Captain Anderson is located at Captain Anderson's Marina, where the fish are always biting and the kids are always smiling. Please call for cruise schedules.
When was the last time you took a few minutes out of your busy schedule to enjoy the simple things? The wide open spaces, the uncharted territory, the moments that seem to stick with you for a lifetime. Well, what are you waiting for? Half hitch. Get out there.
Need a storage shed, pole barn, or garage? Who do you call? Two-time site-built buildings. They come completely prefabbed with aluminum siding and 3/4-inch floors. Constructed on your property by James McConnell and his crew. With no middleman, his prices is lower, and with easy payment terms. Here's my 12-foot by 20-foot shed that went through a 3-foot gate and anchored like a mobile home. He's been building here for 15 years. See the samples at 3822 Highway 98 in Springfield, and call today at 850-257-5729. When you want your lawn to go from this to this, you need to call Leroy Dennis and his helper Bill Grimes. They can do it in one day. Not only that, but Leroy offers discounts to seniors and active and former military. He and his partner can handle any commercial jobs. Don't wait to give them a call at 358-6696. Guess what? If you aren't satisfied, I'll pay for it myself. Don't delay. Call the experts now and look great tomorrow.
What's so unique about this building are the learning spaces. To me, they're more exciting than the outside of the building because it's what you do inside it that counts. And what you'll see here is almost like a starfish layout where there's 5 arms of furniture. And on each arm are 4 students. And each student has their own computer workstation. And at the end of each arm is a 42-inch flat panel. So envision 4 students collaborating together. We used to call that cheating. Now we call that collaboration. But you've got a 42-inch flat panel television, and whatever one student's doing, they can go, hey, you guys, look at this. They push this button, and the whole team can see. Then the instructor, if you look over there, there's a little alcove that holds all of our AV technologies for all of the classrooms that are in this building, a dockable iPad. And whatever the instructor does on the iPad shows up on the 85-inch panel that will be up there on one of those mounts.
Wow.
So it's a very collaborative, media-rich environment. And in the back of the room, you'll see movable furniture, sound barrier walls. There are post-production sound and audio editing booths. There are 3 of them within this suite. So it's not traditional. This room is designed for student teams of 4. The room next to it is designed for teams of 6 to 8. The room next to that is designed for teams of 10 to 12.
Now, we're in which room now, Steve? They're all so similar but so different.
They really are. Think of this as a teaching and learning lab. So what we tried to build here is the ideal classroom so that a kindergarten teacher, a middle school teacher, a university professor could come into this classroom and go, man, this is how I want my classroom to look.
Wow.
And what you've got over here on this wall is another 85-inch flat panel, seating for about 20. Let's say we're going to lecture for about 10 or 15 minutes, and you can't lecture any longer. If you lecture longer than that, you lose their attention span. So throughout the rest of the room, we have movable furniture, sofas, bar stools. the types of furniture that the teacher could arrange in any fashion that they want. And over there in the corner, you'll see a little breakout room that's got glass around it, so there's a sound barrier so that the teacher or faculty member can take a different group of kids and go, hey, you guys, let's come on over here. We're going to talk a little bit. In that room, we'll have what's called a flat surface computer. Think of it as a giant iPad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, if we don't change the way that we teach, we're never going to get the science, technology, engineering, and math students that we need to compete with China, India, Brazil, and the rest of the world. Figure there's 300 million Americans. If you're not getting to more of them than the 1 billion Chinese and the 1 billion Indians, our leadership in technology will be challenged as never before. That's what's happening today.
Now, where are you going to find all these high-tech instructors?
Happily, they're already here.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. We've got Wendy Payne and Guy Garrett and Melanie Boyd and Dr. Erica Goins and Antonio Adesi. I can go on and on. You know who they are. They're folks that were out in the real world. This is the great thing about a state college and kind of differs from a university. In many cases in universities, and candidly, I'm not generalizing about all professors, but the old model is they haven't been in the real world lately. And our faculty, they come out of that, out of their profession, and they come in and teach toward the end of their career. And universities are kind of evolving that way because they realize you got to be more relevant. So as we look at that educational pathway coming out of K-12 schools, that's where the beauty of the community and state college system comes in. You know, we're not elitist. We don't cut them off, and you know, we have the lowest tuition in the state of Florida.
Wow,
we're,
really?
we're half the price of the university. So if you're going to get your freshman and sophomore classes, you're going to get them in an engaged fashion and high quality with the latest technology at half the price.
Unbelievable.
So what we have in this space are the administrative offices, and one of those is the Career and Technical Education Director for Bay District Schools. Well, we want to make absolutely certain that we connect those high school pathways to these new degree programs. Then you've got other event space out here so that when we have a conference, vendors can come in and they can set up their displays. And over here are a suite of offices for the Small Business Development Center, the Veterans Business Outreach Center. The SBDC serves about 30 to 40 clients a week that want to start up a business. So if you're interested in starting a business, you can come to the ATC. The Veterans Business Outreach Center is the flagship for that federal program. They serve 8 southeastern states in the United States and are the most successful outreach center connecting veterans to lucrative government contracts. And finally, behind us, we have some entrepreneur spaces that we'll take a closer look at. This is the Institute for Entrepreneurship. We do credit and non-credit training for entrepreneurs. So those people that want to start a business or have an idea, come to the ATC. And what we have here are a variety of resources for the individuals that want to take their idea into market. The workshops that we do inside here are as brief as 1 hour, or you can take a whole degree pathway, an associate's degree for entrepreneurship. And then in this room is where we have what are called pitch events. So here's where we actually connect venture capitalists, angel investors, entrepreneurial investors to the people that have the ideas. So they stand up here and they learn, we teach them how to pitch their idea to the people that have money. And in the next room, what you'll see is a space that's designed for fabrication for entrepreneurs and for students. This is our emerging technology space. This area is designed to take the ideas that come into that idea engine through the Institute of Entrepreneurship, and they're prototyped and fabricated inside the room. That's a 3-phase power grid with multiple voltage, and behind it you can see a garage door, so if it involves vehicles or large equipment, we can pull it in here. We'll have a 5-axis CNC. That's a machine that makes anything out of metal. We'll have something called a lathe, and over here we'll have an actual 3D printer that uses liquid. It's the highest technology printer, we've been told by the folks that sold it to us, which is true. They're actually made in Israel and distributed out of Boston, but they'll make just about anything in an actual 3-dimensional product. This is the one that will print in chocolate, it'll print in pasta, but it also prints in plastics, and it prints in anything, just about anything but metal, translucent, see-through. So we help entrepreneurs. One of the guys we're working with is a gentleman with a patent on a fish hook. And as we mentioned earlier, a lot of those marine technologies that are fabricated out of certain materials, we can make prototypes for that here and assist the entrepreneurs. And we're not going to ask for money. All we really ask for is what we call a pledge. So for the first 3 years of the company, you have to tell us how much money you made and how much volume that you did, and we recommend a gift. We don't require it, we just have a recommended level of giving. That way it frees you up to talk more with the entrepreneurs. So this room was sponsored by Senator Don Gates, and he's extremely interested in accelerating entrepreneurship. And some of those entrepreneurs come to us at 10 years old, some of them come to us at 70. You just never know when that good idea is going to hit you.
All right, now Steve, where are we right now?
This is actually our culinary program.
Oh, wow. Is this the restaurant?
Pretty much, this is it. We had La Friandise, and this is the John Holly Dining Room, named after one of our great faculty members that passed away. And it's for our culinary program, so we can seat up to 50 folks in the restaurant, and there is a red wine rack, a white wine cooler, and a state-of-the-art kitchen. If you look back here...
Is this going to be open to the public?
Well, it's actually an event space, so as long as that event is scheduled and meets the needs of the culinary students, so it's not like a restaurant you would just walk in, sit down.
Oh, so I mean, I just live down the street, so my wife and I can't just pop in here for dinner.
Right, but you can make reservations. So what we'll do is we'll announce there are this many reservations available, and it's some of the best dining in the Panhandle. It is amazing.
How many nights a week would it be open, for example?
Probably even not that, not so much on a weekly basis as there are those events that we're training students how to cater, and we're training, of course, the folks that run the back of the kitchen. You've got a state-of-the-art kitchen back there, including a bakery and a chocolate lab, an ice carving station. You've got walk-in freezers, a classroom, and even showers.
Oh, so all of that stuff way on back is still part of the culinary
It's
program.
all culinary, 9,500 square feet.
Oh, my gosh.
And it connects to those printers that print in chocolate.
Okay. Well, if you heard me doing my intro, I do all the cooking in our house.
Ah, yeah.
My wife does all the heavy lifting because she teaches visually impaired kids, and she's out on 6 counties during the week.
Gotcha.
And I love to cook.
Well, maybe you can be a guest chef one evening.
I would love that.
We'll see if we can arrange that.
All right. I could do it. Well, now where are we headed here? What's this room across the hall here?
That's actually robotics and automated manufacturing. So
Wow.
we teach students how to run the robots that run the factories. And
Whoa, no kidding.
oh yeah, yeah. They actually are an important part of attracting the manufacturing that's gone overseas back to the United States.
Yeah, I've noticed that in the change of how we make things. And
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
almost the entire automobile industry is robotics now.
It is, and many of the smaller products, the largest manufacturer on the planet is still the United States of America. A lot of people think it's China, but it's not.
Wow.
We are still the largest manufacturer of durable goods on the planet, and we roboticized so many things that having cheap labor, well, there's nothing quite as inexpensive over time as a robot. There's the Bakery and Chocolate Lab, the culinary program that looks out into what we call the vivarium.
Okay.
So what you've got here is a hallway where the architect, Joe Sorcy, describes it as an outdoor space that we brought inside. You can see the aquatic curvature.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and there on the over there on the right-hand side is a mount on the wall. That's where we'll have clusters of furniture. There are 20 of these spaces for students where they can come in, sit down with their iPad, and actually talk and work as a team and connect to those monitors that are spread throughout the facility.
What, can you get like a latte or?
You know what? You can, because there's a coffee shop right there in the center of the
I
building.
was just wondering about that.
Yeah, hopefully you can get that printed chocolate confection that drops into the latte. But again, the culinary is an important part of our economy, and it weaves into this. Over here we have alternative energy, a room with special venting. It's involved in biofuels. The solar panels that you saw in the last episode connect to the solar water heater that's in this room.
Okay.
It's actually right on the other side of that wall. And then,
Well, let me ask something.
Sure.
About how many people are involved and employed here now completing this thing? How many people are working here?
well, once it's built, and as we talked about earlier, there are some 200-300 people that were involved in its construction.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, it took several hundred people to build it.
Great jobs for Panama City.
It's phenomenal. And, you know, the most important thing, we also talked about finding talent, growing talent, and retaining talent. And if we're going to grow talent, that's what this building is really, really all about.
It'll be great to see your first graduating classes.
Oh yeah. And we already have programs.
You'll look good in those robes.
Hopefully they will. But over here is a really important room we call the Fab Lab, personal fabrication. So what you've got in there is welding booths, and we'll have what we call a mill and CNCs. It kind of connects to the room that we saw earlier in emerging technology.
You actually be able to do welding in here?
Yeah, right there in the back booths. And you can also fabricate. There are more 3D printers here. Yeah. So if you have a new design, literally for everything from a shower head, let's say I've designed this great new shower head. We teach students how to design it in 3D. You can come in here and you can print it.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll print the actual shower head or any 3D object, a new tool, a new fishing lure. So if somebody had a design for that, we could come in here and work with them and they could print it.
Is it molded out of plastic?
It kind of layers it down. It kind of prints it layer by layer.
But out of plastic?
Out of plastic and out of, sometimes they're flexible plastics, sometimes they're really hard, sometimes they're temperature resistant. They're working on the ones that actually print in metal, but right now they're still largely welding and grinding and subtractive processes.
So unbelievable to be right here in Panama City.
It's phenomenal. And they're working on the floor, so we can't go in here, but I wanted you to peek through this window and see sustainable technology. These are two-story spaces. We actually teach students how to pull gasoline engines out of cars and replace that with an electric engine. It's called EV conversion. So we convert fossil fuel vehicles to electric vehicles. And if you look at Chevy Volt and you look at the Toyota Prius, the electric vehicle attaches to that grid. We talked in the first episode about the grid. Well, the grid used to run on coal, and coal is one of our dirtier sources of fuel. But now with fracking, you get more natural gas. Natural gas burns cleaner. It's not renewable, but it's much cleaner. So when you connect your car to the grid to charge overnight, which by the way, the new electric vehicles will recharge in 10 or 15 minutes.
You're kidding.
No, the batteries that we're buying for the vehicles we convert, the whole thing recharges. So the day of electric vehicles being parked and recharged is being replaced by what we call a Starbucks metaphor.
Is that like a NiCad battery?
They're different chemicals. Some of them are lithium ion.
Okay,
and there's another generation coming after that. But the point is, I can drive 200-300 miles, stop, have a cup of coffee. While I have my coffee, 15 minutes later, I'm fully charged for another 200-300 miles.
Holy smoke. Absolutely.
And then it all goes back to the grid. So we train sustainable technology, sustainable design, alternative energy, prototyping and fabrication. The ATC is really a new layer of talent for our entire region. There is no facility like this in the United States.
So you'll be attracting people literally from all over the United States.
And the world. And the world, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it.
What a pleasure. What a brilliant guy you are.
Well, it's a lot more people involved than me, the right president, Dr. Jim Curley, our board members, district board of trustees, the historical leadership that we've had at the institution, and certainly our political representatives to take a $35 million idea, to have the right folks there to get it to become a reality in our own backyard. It's quite a thing.
It's unbelievable, and I think we've had a great time. And folks, I know that you're going to be as impressed as I was, so thanks again, and we're looking forward to seeing it full of people.
Well, thank you for helping us get the news out there.
All right.